Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unlimited, Bombardier's new Global 8000 clears European regulators. FAA reopens comments on Indianapolis Heliport. Bushliner's diesel-powered sport plane gains traction. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm your host, Holland Lee. Let's get into today's stories. Bombardier's new Global 8000 clears European regulators. Bombardier's Global 8000 has cleared the last major hurdle between the flight testing stage and worldwide service, officially earning certification from EASA. This follows earlier approvals from Transport Canada in November 2025 and the FAA in December. This step has been a long time coming. Transport Canada became the first regulator to seal the deal on November 5, 2025, and about a month later, on December 8th, keys to the first Global 8000 were turned over to loyal customer and GFL Environmental CEO Patrick Dovigi, marking the jet's official entry into service. The FAA's nod of approval came through on December 19th, trailed by EASA on January 23rd. This clears the company to begin additional deliveries and broader international operations in 2026. The Global 8000 sits comfortably at the top end of the business aviation performance envelope, carrying a maximum cruise speed of Mach 0.95 and a published range of 8,000 nautical miles. That combination places it ahead of competing ultra-long-range biz jets in outright speed, without compromising transcontinental and intercontinental nonstop capabilities. It targets long-haul routes that previously required either a fuel stop or a trade-off between speed and distance. After the break, Airbus helicopters received 536 orders in 2025.
It's time to upgrade your power plant to the first FAA-certified clean sheet engine design in over 60 years. DeltaHawk's jet fuel-powered liquid-cooled turbocharged engine produces turbine performance at 40% better fuel efficiency of typical reciprocating engines, while also achieving exceptional reliability and significant reduction in cost of ownership. Reserve your engine package today at deltahawk.com.
Looking for a new generation of proven and efficient aviation power plants that boast modern engineering, electronic ignition, and both direct and gear drive systems? With 100 horsepower to 240 horsepower, the Skyline and Redline engines offer uncommon value in an overpriced industry. Whether you are looking for fixed wing or rotor, MW Fly Americas has been established to service the American market with dedication and expertise. MWFlyAmericas.com.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. Airbus helicopters received 536 orders in 2025. Airbus helicopters received net orders of 536 helicopters in 2025, and the company delivered 392 helicopters that year. Spain placed an order for 100 helicopters, including 50 H-145Ms, 31 NH-90s for all three branches of the armed forces, and the first orders for the H-175M. Germany exercised an option for 20 additional H-145Ms, bringing the total to 82, with the first helicopters already delivered. The Netherlands added 3 NH-90 aircraft to their fleet. UK Aviation Authority devotes $57 million to invest in a net zero future. The UK government is throwing another £43 million, or about 57.7 million USD, at aviation's long march toward net zero, asking industry, researchers, and universities to come forward with ideas that might actually get the trend moving in the right direction. The funding will be overseen by the Civil Aviation Authority. The money will fund research into projects related to hydrogen propulsion, zero-emission aircraft concepts, clean fuels, and even contrail avoidance. Britain's Green Airline calls it quits before leaving the ground. The UK's ambitious sustainable airline has been put out of its misery, keeping to its zero-emissions ambition by never getting airborne. The company's board opted for voluntary liquidation, bringing a quiet end to a startup that had seen nothing but struggle since it was unveiled in 2023. From the start, EcoJet's timeline slipped. The airline initially promised to launch domestic UK routes in early 2024, then delayed its goal by at least a year. Despite a massive recruitment push, most staff were laid off in January 2025. Gulf Coast Fleet readies for 2026 fly-in. The annual 2026 Gulf Coast Fleet Fly-In will run from January 26th through 30th at NAS Whiting Field South, Milton, Florida. This event brings a variety of Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard aircraft and is designed to provide a week of training and knowledge sharing with student aviators so they can make informed decisions about future warfighting platforms as they progress in their aviation careers. The fly-in is also honoring the TH-57 by having a sundown event following the last flight at the Naval Aviation Museum. That's it for today's Trip Around the Patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. FAA reopens comments on Indianapolis Heliport. The FAA is reopening public comments on the planned closure of the Indianapolis Downtown Heliport, FAA identifier 8A4, and the request to allow the sale of all 5.36 acres of heliport land for non-aviation use. FAA received 2 formal requests asking it to reconsider the closure and sale of the heliport. Because of those requests, the FAA is now reopening the public comment period before making a final decision. Comments must be received by February 12th. On December 10th and 23rd, 2025, the FAA received written requests that they reconsider its intent to permit the proposed permanent closure of 8A4 and release and sale of the heliport property. This notice announces that the FAA is seeking further public comment on the proposed permanent closure and release of the subject heliport property at the Indianapolis Downtown Heliport in Indiana from federal land covenants. The Indianapolis Airport Authority has asked to be released from its U.S. federal obligations tied to funding that it previously received for the heliport. If approved, the land would no longer have to be used for aviation purposes and could be sold. 3 years after the Indianapolis Airport Authority submitted the request to decommission or shut down the heliport, the FAA ultimately agreed, determining closing the heliport would not impact air operations in Indianapolis. After these messages, Bushliner's diesel-powered sport plane gains traction. Welcome back. Bushliner's diesel-powered sport plane gains traction. Bushliner's new backcountry airplane project is off to a great start, logging more than 130 reservations from 14 countries in just 7 days. About 2/3 of reservations came from states with strong bush, utility, or adventure flying cultures, including Texas, California, Alaska, Florida, Washington, Utah, and Idaho. The last third is spread across other U.S. states, Europe, and Oceania. With demand piling up, Bushliner is getting ready to sort out its factory capacity. Reservations are being slotted into production blocks offered in 2-year chunks, stretching from 2028 through 2040. The surge comes back-to-back with the announcement of Bushliner's formal partnership with DeltaHawk Engines, committing to a 100-engine integration program centered on the 350-horsepower DHK A6 turbo diesel. The engine's primary quirk is that it runs on Jet A and similar fuels, rather than your typical leaded avgas. Outside of that, it's a 6-cylinder compression ignition setup that's turbocharged and supercharged to serve the utility market. Certification of this 350-horsepower variant is targeted for 2027. This unique engine is being paired with an equally unique airplane. The Bushliner 1850 has a design gross weight of 4,200 pounds, with a roughly 2,000-pound useful load, cruising at around 150 knots and burning about 15 gallons per hour. Stall speed is projected near 40 knots, with a range north of 1,000 nautical miles. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.